is basically gonna use all of the skills that you learned in the previous three jQuery basic tutorials to make a drop-down menu. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a quick HTML scaffold, and I'm gonna call it jQuery Academy dash drop down, and we're going to include the jQuery library obviously, and then we're going to make our own script tag for our script to go in. Give that some space. Then down here we're gonna make our elements that is going to make up our drop down menu basically. So we're going to have one divider which is going to be the header, or I'll just call it heading, and basically that's going to say hover over me. I should probably make those capitals just because it's a heading. And I have this loaded in my browser already. I'm just going to render this just so it says hover over me. And then we're going to have, underneath that, we're going to have a div which is going to be called the drop down underscore container. And basically the drop down container is going to contain all of the items in the drop down menu that's going to appear when you hover over the heading div. So I'm going to give these some style so they don't look like crap. And so I'm going to start off with heading, and I'm going to make it use the color picker. I'm going to give it a nice gray background, and that's number sign 7D 7D 7D. Then I'm going to give it a width of 200 pixels and padding of 10 pixels. And yeah, let's see how that looks. It looks alright. I'm going to give it a text dash align equals center, so it's centered. And then I'm going to make it the font color, I'm going to make it white, which is number FFF. We got white text now. So basically this thing doesn't do anything right now, but we're going to hover over that and it's going to make our menu drop down. So now we're going to make our drop down container. So inside here we're not going to put anything quite yet, but I'm going to style it right now, so I'm going to say drop down container, and then we're going to give it a width of 160 pixels, background, oops, we're going to give it a lighter gray, and we're going to give it a, what should we do? We're going to give it a border of 1 pixel. I'm going to make it black, so it's 0, 0, 0, 0. And then I want to set the border on the top to 0 pixels, just so it looks like more of a menu. So now, right now it doesn't look like anything, but then if we add something to it, it'll appear. So it says hi in there, obviously. Now inside here we're going to have our menu items. So basically our menu items, I'm going to make them, I'll do anchors. So I'm going to say ahref equals home.html. It's going to be a link to home, so we're going to make it say home. Our next one is going to be ahref equals about.html. These are just makeshift, but this one's about. And then the next one is going to be contact.html. So just standard headings, contact, and we're going to close that anchor. Now you're going to notice we have 3 things in there. We're not going to want to break after those because we're going to do a CSS. So we're going to say container anchor, so the anchor's inside the drop-down container. We're going to give those a width of 160 pixels. Actually, that doesn't work, never mind. I'm going to give them a heading of, okay, yeah, that's going to work. I'm just going to make them a bit bigger, give it say 30, and that should give them all their own line like that. And then I'm going to say we're just going to leave it like that, actually. Alright, so now we got those, and we're going to put each one of those in a container. So we're going to give this one put each of those in a container like that, just a div container. And we're going to get rid of that padding property, just because it's not really that important. And now notice each of them are on their own line. We're just going to give them a nice color. We're going to give them white, which is number sign FFF. And we're going to get rid of their underlines. We're going to say text dash decoration equals none. That gets rid of their text decoration. Then we're going to say, and that's it for the links. Then we're going to have Dropdown underscore container div, which is going to style the divs inside the Dropdown container. And we're going to give those each a margin bottom of 3 pixels, so it'll space them out a bit. And then we're going to say padding left equals 6 pixels. And we're going to say, now we're going to have another one that's going to be drop down underscore contain div hover, which is basically just going to give them a nice background when you hover over them. So we're going to make it slightly darker up there, I guess. So let's try that out. We saved it. Now when we hover over them, it gives us a nice background. Right, so now we have this like basic CSS menu, which doesn't really have any functionality yet. I mean, you can click the links, it'll take you to a page which doesn't exist. But really it doesn't do what you want it to do. So we're going to make it so that when you hover over this thing's going to slide down. So in order to do that, we're going to start off with hiding the drop-down container. Oh, whoops, what am I doing? Don't want that there. I'm going to go display is none. So basically that's going to hide the drop-down container right there. And then since it's not visible right now, we know that it's going to start invisible and then it's going to appear. So basically we're going to use the document .ready, which is going to run this function when the document is ready. So in here we're going to put like the majority of our code. So basically what we want to say is we want to select the heading. And from our previous mouse events tutorial, we learned that you can go mouse enter, which basically it runs this code when the mouse enters this heading. And what we want to do when the mouse goes in, we want to select the, what's it called, drop down underscore container, and we want to make it slide down. Basically it means it's going to show up right when we hover over this. So there you go, nice menu shows up. And then we're going to say, we don't want it to stay there forever, so we're going to make it so that we're going to say drop down underscore container dot mouse leave function. Just have to leave my curly back there. I'm going to say function, and we're going to say dot slide up. So basically what this does is it's going to say whenever our mouse goes into the heading, it shows the menu, and whenever the mouse leaves the menu, it's going to slide up. So say the user looks at the menu but they don't want to click anything there and they leave the menu, it's going to slide up and go away so they can get to it later. So we're going to refresh the page, we're going to mouse over, it slides down, look at our links, we don't want to go, so we're going to leave. and it goes away. We can go back, it'll appear, and it goes away when we leave it, obviously. So we click a link, take us to a page which doesn't exist, and go back. There you go. There's a very, very, very basic drop-down menu in jQuery. And thanks for watching.